everybody! You have landed on episode number 254 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is January 28th, 2026, and my guest is Jennifer in Illinois. No announcements this week, so let's get started.
Hello, listeners. Welcome back. I have Jennifer as my guest today. And how are you doing this afternoon?
I am great. How are you?
Good, good. And so we usually start off with talking about where you're located.
Okay. I am in a suburb of Chicago. It's called Buffalo Grove, and it's about 25 miles northwest of the city.
Okay. Okay. And then the next part of your journey is how you got started selling and, what that was all about.
So my husband had an account. I actually looked the other day and it said that we have an account since 2004. And he used to buy sports cards. He's a big baseball and hockey card collector. So he always had an account. And when my kids were little and they would stop using what I thought were pretty valuable toys, or even, my boys went into that phase where they really enjoyed the Nike, the fancy LeBron gym shoes and the Steph Currys. And I always just would hate to just give them away or throw them away. And I would put them up on eBay. And that was back, I think, in the auction days. And they would always sell. And I was just so happy that they weren't going into the landfill or just being dropped in one of those boxes at the strip mall. And so every now and then when I would have something that I thought was good and could sell on eBay, I would list it. But I never really took it seriously until about a year and a half ago.
Okay. And what was the change there?
My younger son was home from college and he found a bunch of Pokemon cards in his room and he said, I think these are worth something. So we looked them up and they were. Google image became my best friend. And we listed them all and they sold instantly. And I thought, wow, what else can I sell around here?
That opened Pandora's box. Huh?
Totally. My husband's like, stop selling all my stuff. So, but I was also an empty nester at that point. And my kids also grew up playing travel baseball. And every year they would get a new helmet or new gear. And a lot of times they were just happy with the gear they already had, but it was all included in the travel team. So in the garage, we had all these brand new helmets and gloves, and I started putting those up and they would sell. And I realized I thought I was pretty good at it. I think I've always been a pretty good picture taker and I have pretty good computer skills, I think. And it was just so easy. And so I just started getting rid of stuff that we don't want around the house. I'd say for the first 6 months, I never even stepped foot in a thrift store or an estate sale or a garage sale. I just was selling stuff around my house, or my mom and my sister would give stuff to me to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started listening to all the podcasts and watching YouTube videos where they're saying, you got to list every day, every day, every day. So then I started running out of things to list.
Right. Yeah.
And so I started going to garage sales, and I really enjoy the estate sales. Those I think are really the best places to source. I think thrift stores can be too expensive for resellers, depending on what you're looking
for.
It
just depends on the store, the prices, what you want your margin to be, and who's been there before you,
right.
And what your products are, because there's plenty of things that are left in the thrift stores that others don't want. Sellers all have their things they like, and you're outside of Chicago, so that may be an area that prices are jacked up.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I definitely see, I don't even really go into Goodwill ever because stuff there is just expensive around here.
Right.
We do have a Salvation Army over here that's more reasonable, and I definitely have picked stuff up there. But I like to go to the bargain day of the estate sale.
So wait, going back to Goodwill, what are the normal prices? Do you know?
I mean, I feel like it's like $6 even for like a pair of just no name leggings.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that ever has a name brand on it, like a men's shirt, is like $9.99.
Oh, really? That
Yeah.
high?
I mean,
Okay.
they definitely run like, they have the color of the week, but then I feel like I'm standing there searching for that one color tag.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I source better at an estate sale or a garage
Oh,
sale.
I totally agree with you. I'm just picking your brain for
Yeah.
how prices can be different regionally.
Yeah.
And it just depends on, well, even I just moved 80 miles from where I was, and it's all different here.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying is you've got to figure out what works for you as far as the price point for buying for resale.
Right. I think it's great if you're just going there to buy something like for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think then you're getting a bargain. If you happen to find like a Lululemon pair of leggings for $9.99, that's a bargain. But to try
Mm-hmm.
and buy it for $9.99 and then come home and resell it is another thing.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the reality of it. So you work a regular full-time job?
I work a part-time job.
Part-time. Okay.
Yes, I am a retail merchandiser for Hallmark cards.
Okay. So you go to different stores and
I
set up their
do.
displays. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
I have a territory of 3 Walgreens stores and a Walmart.
Okay.
So it's
Okay. So,
part-time, busier around the holidays, obviously.
oh, so you're not going into the Hallmark stores, you're doing
No,
their
I'm going to
products
the
in other
chain
stores.
drugstores.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense because we tried to do this before Christmas and you're like, nope, I'm totally busy.
Yes.
So I get that. I had it in my mind that you were in the Hallmark stores because, they do have some good clearances after the holidays, and that's when a lot of people stock up on things to use for themselves for next year, like the wrapping paper.
Oh yeah.
That's a big deal. And
Yes.
also just things to flip.
Yes. Yes. It's funny because when I go to an estate sale, I'm like gravitate towards Hallmark ornaments.
Because
And I'm like,
you
I
know which
do.
ones are worth messing with.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's mostly the keepsakes. A lot of the ones you get at Walgreens and Walmart. Although it's funny because I do see people at Walmart
Uh-huh.
looking at them and I just know that they're like looking to resell them. I just know.
Okay. Well, that's a good explanation. Hey, well, I approached you to come on the podcast because I saw some of the things you were selling on the group. Do you want to talk about those?
Sure. You want me to talk about some of my like
Some of your sales, or if you want to go back to what you wanted to mention about your son selling some things and uh,
oh,
kind of
okay.
wanted
Well,
to.
I'll talk about some of my sales first and then I can get into what
Okay,
you
sure.
sold.
Uh-huh.
Mine are going to seem dismal after I tell you what he
No,
did.
that's okay.
So most recently, probably my favorite 2 sales, it turned out to be, I was at an estate sale in my town, and I remember listening to one of your guests who talked about the vintage cruel embroidery
Uh-huh.
patterns or packages, and we were looking in a room of crafts, and I turn around and in the closet there's unopened packages of embroidery. And I look and there were 2 Christmas stockings. One was by Dimensions and one was by Sunset.
Uh-huh.
And they had the Lee Ward's tags on them,
Mm-hmm.
unopened. And I just knew that these were good. And they weren't priced. And it was like one of those things where you go downstairs and you're like hoping they give you a really good deal. And as soon as they do, you just want to get out of there.
Right. Uh-huh.
So I handed him over and I said, "These aren't priced." And he said, "How about $8 each?" And I said, "Sure." And I had Googled imaged it, and I feel like sometimes when you Google image, it's not always 100% accurate, but it gives you a little bit of an idea.
Yes.
So I walked out and I got in the car and they looked like they were selling for over $100 each. And this was before the holidays, but not much more before. And I got home and I listed them both for $135. One sold immediately. I want to say the dimensions sold immediately.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then when I was on vacation right before Christmas, although I did have my store on time away,
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting at the beach and I got a notification that the other one sold. And I was pretty excited because that was over $100 profit and on each. And I felt like because I knew what I was looking for, it really paid off.
Right. Do you remember what the subject matter of those
They
were?
were both Christmas stockings.
Just Christmas stockings.
I
Okay.
mean, they
I
were
think,
very like detailed, but when you look at
uh-huh.
the package, it wasn't like it was stuffed full of things. It was just the yarn and the pattern. And yeah, I mean, my family was like, people really paid that much. And I
Did
was like,
you come across anything in your research that those were discontinued or they were old?
I just knew that Lee Wards hadn't been in business for so long.
Right.
Yeah. And I saw that a lot of them were selling. They actually coincidentally both went to Michigan, which I thought was funny. Different
Okay.
buyers, but they both went to Michigan.
Yeah, I'm always trying to crack the code on like, why did somebody buy this? What is it about this thing?
Yes.
Is it, well, obviously it's old. They don't make it anymore. And really the only way to know is to ask the buyer, which I never do until they leave feedback. Hey, just
Oh, okay.
wondering why you bought this. It helps me be a better seller if I know what people are looking for.
That's a good
And
idea.
sometimes they don't answer because I think a lot of buyers don't know about the messaging. Like they don't know
Yeah.
when they get the little red dot by the notifications that they have a message
Uh-huh.
or they have that notification turned off. I don't think people are just intentionally not willing to talk about it. I think they don't know that I've messaged them. And sometimes they will answer. So
Yeah.
it's just fascinating to me what drives different buyers to buy different products and the amount they spend because
Right. That's
that
the
is a
thing.
total moving target on what people will spend. One person, no way would they ever pay that much. The other one, I've been looking for this for 10 years and I'll pay whatever.
Yes.
Just some food for thought there. So then that sold, you said a couple of weeks before Christmas.
The first one sold a couple weeks before Christmas. The other one sold right around Christmas, but they
Hmm.
weren't getting it till after. Maybe they decided they didn't
So
have enough stockings
maybe
for next year.
they're doing it for next year or they're
Right.
giving it as a gift,
Oh, yeah.
to somebody that does the needlework and this was special to them or I don't know. My mind is always going a million miles an hour. Like, what are they gonna do with this? Why'd they buy
I
it?
know. I
Yeah.
know. But
Okay.
I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for those in the future.
Yes. Yes. I think so. And, the word has gotten around in the reselling world that these are definitely highly sought after. But I think still there's opportunity because there's plenty of people that this is just not in their wheelhouse. Like they wouldn't know anything about it. And they
Uh-huh.
they would like, well, how do I know all the pieces are in there? Or how do I know whatever? And that gets in the way with everything, really, if you're not 100% knowledgeable about it. I don't know, just a curiosity.
Yeah. I
Okay,
had
so
another interesting thing. So I had an old Weber grill in our backyard. It's probably 12 to 15 years old. And I put it up. It was very used, which is why we were getting rid of it and getting a new one, but it was still
uh-huh,
working. And I just did like a local pickup. I mean, again, I live outside Chicago, lots of people. And I had it like $150 local pickup and it got a lot of views, but nobody ever actually watched it or wanted it. And I had a buyer from, I think it was, I want to say Arkansas, reached out and said, I'm really interested in just the left shelf of the grill. There's like that where you put your stuff down.
mhm,
Any chance you would sell me just the left shelf? And I consider myself handy, but I've never really taken apart a grill. And I
mhm.
thought, okay, let me see if I can do this. And I went out there, and sure enough, it was only being held on by a couple bolts. And I unscrewed them and I took it off and I put it in a box and figured out the shipping. And he was willing to pay good money for it. So then I sent it off. It was all great. And now I'm like, okay, well, now I'm stuck with the right half and the rest of the grill. And slowly but surely, I took apart the whole thing and I've then sold the right half. Then I sold the doors.
Oh
Then I
gosh.
sold the igniter button,
Uh-huh.
and all I'm left with are the three knobs that had in the front, which do get a lot of looks. I just haven't had any purchases on them yet. But all in all, I ended up making more money selling it separate than I was asking for the entire grill as a whole.
And that's the way it works sometimes. Yeah. And those knobs will sell. I see that all the time. You just have to
Yeah.
wait for somebody with that grill to need them.
Right. I was thinking like this is so old. Who is going to need like these exact parts? But sure enough, both
Or
sides. I
like
thought
the
for sure I'd be
people
stuck with the
who
right side forever.
like the people who buy broken printers and broken calculators and either fix them up and sell them, or they have some kind of brick and mortar shop where they have all these parts for things, or maybe they're just all online, but somebody like that could buy it. I've had buyers tell me, oh yeah, I repair these and I'm always needing parts, so I don't have a
Yeah.
specific need for it right at this moment, but I have used this part before and I go on eBay to look for it.
Yeah. I also had an interesting sale actually this morning.
Okay.
I was cleaning out our desk in our home office the other day, and I opened the drawer and there was a map from Kittyland, which used to be an amusement park in Chicago. I'd say it closed maybe at least 10 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer. And because I listen to all the podcasts and know that people are into this kind of memorabilia, nostalgia, I had just the park map. Like if you were walking into any Six Flags, you would grab the map before you walk in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was from 2009. And I'm like, well, I'll put it up. I couldn't find any other comps, but there were a few Kittyland items, but they weren't the map. And I put it up, and within hours, I had like 7, 8 views. And we're talking like a pretty small little, this isn't Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it up and I had 3 watchers, and I ended up sending an offer just for like 10% off. And sure enough, this morning, somebody in Colorado bought it for $15. And I called my
Okay.
husband and he's like, why would anyone want that? And I said, I don't know. But it was funny because my husband's from Colorado and it was going to his hometown.
Oh, really? Okay. Small world
I
then.
know.
And where was the park located again?
In Melrose Park, Illinois, which is not
Okay.
far from
So
Chicago.
not Colorado.
No, no.
That's weird. Well, I find that with sports items. They
Yes.
go, it could be University of Alabama, but it can go anywhere.
I
And
know. My son
just
goes to
to
the University
say
of
that
Alabama.
really all the Alabama fans do not live in Alabama.
They
They're
do not.
scattered
50% of
everywhere.
the students don't live in Alabama.
Right, exactly. So, just for the listeners, sometimes you have to open your mind to what, the possibilities of where people live, what they want. And yeah, I see things for specific towns or schools or whatever, and they just go everywhere. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fun part. I always look at where items are going and do I know where that is?
Yeah. I
And
have a map in my basement of all the states, and I've
Mhm.
been putting a pin. I think I have
Good.
2 left, I want to say.
Oh,
And I think it's,
really? Okay. I used to do that, and my kids were in middle school, so we kind of had it as a learning tool
yeah. I
of,
just had an
okay.
Alaska sale yesterday, so that got
Oh,
that
you
one.
did?
I did. Here's a pair
Okay.
of knitting needles.
Yeah, they need something to do in the
I was
cold,
thinking the
dark
same
winter
thing.
nights.
I was thinking the same thing.
I sold a swimsuit to Alaska a few days ago. But you know what? They have indoor pools. People go on cruises, all kind of
Yeah.
reasons. eBay knows no seasons and
Yeah.
leave if you have it listed, leave it listed. You just
Uh-huh.
don't know when it's going to pop up and somebody's going to want it. Just because they don't want it today doesn't mean they never will.
Right.
Right.
I love when something sells and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. It's been on there for so long.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, I
great feeling.
know. List and forget it kind of thing. Okay. Well, what other kind of sales have you had?
What else have I sold? My fastest sale was probably my kids had an old Xbox 360 that they weren't using anymore. It was, I mean, it was definitely like an older version. which is why they weren't using it anymore. And I had taken all the pictures ahead of time, and we went out of town over the summer road trip. And when we were driving back on Sunday, I was like, oh, I should list a few things while I'm in the car. And I listed the Xbox, and within 15 minutes, it sold, which of course, then I was like, well, maybe I priced that too low.
Yeah, we always think that, don't we?
But at the same time, when it comes to something that we've used in our house and gotten money's worth out of it, I feel better rather than if I picked it up to flip and maybe sold it for too low.
Mhm.
So that was probably my fastest sale for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a different criteria when it's your own thing that you're just like, will anybody buy this?
Right,
that's
exactly.
completely different than paying $10 for it somewhere.
Yes, yes.
And even if it's only $10, but still, it's a different mindset when you're like, oh, good, somebody wants this. You may have it.
Yes. So I do sell a lot of sports cards between my two boys and my husband. We could wallpaper my entire house in sports
Okay.
cards. So my older son is very into wanting me to sell them and give him the money, which I do.
Uh-huh.
My younger son is, he also wants the money for them. However, he over the summer was doing those breaks on Whatnot. I think I heard another guest of yours telling you about them at one point.
Yes, yes. Several guests have mentioned Whatnot. Mhm.
Okay. So he was doing the breaks where you buy in and you get assigned a team. And then when they open the packs, whatever cards that belong to your team, you then get from the break.
Okay.
So he bought in for $40. And at the end of the opening, they had like one pack left. I wasn't watching, and he told me after the fact. But they pulled a Shohei Ohtani autographed chrome numbered card there were only going to be 35 of them. And I'm sure Shohei is all the rage as far as.
I do not know that. No.
No? Okay.
No.
Well, if you had a Shohei Ohtani card and you listed, you would sell it immediately.
Okay.
When you look up solds on baseball cards for eBay, it is always, I'd say 90% of the highest sales are from him.
And spell that?
Shohei, it's Shohei, Ohtani. He's on the Dodgers.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So he immediately wanted to make an eBay account of his own and list it.
Mm-hmm.
So I helped him, and he did, and he put it on an auction. And it made me so nervous because I was looking at some of the comps. There weren't a lot of comps because it had just come out, but he wanted to get it up there before anybody else could. And we found one other, and it was in the thousands. And he ended up selling it for $5,100. And it just, I was so nervous for him. I don't know. He wasn't fazed by it at all. But I just was nervous. Like, is this going to arrive? And I'm like, you better make sure there's signature required. And
right.
And then of course, I think I was out of town when it came time for him to send it. And I wasn't there to monitor that it was being packaged correctly.
You weren't there to oversee.
No,
yeah.
And I felt and I was just until it got there, and I believe he got feedback, but we got delivery confirmation, and it's all good. But that made me so nervous, and that topped any sale that I've had. That's for sure.
And wait, how much did he pay for it again?
$40.
Wow.
I know.
What was special about it? Just the limited number that made?
It's a limited run. It was when they have a number on the actual card, it means more than just your typical base card. It was an autographed card.
Ah.
Special edition.
So did he get the autograph?
The hottest player right now.
Did he get the autograph authenticated?
I believe it went through the authentication process.
Oh, it went through it on eBay. Okay, right.
Yes. I don't know who the end result buyer was. I think it went to California, I want to say, to get authenticated.
Mm-hmm.
I know that when I send things here internationally, it goes somewhere in Illinois to get transferred then. So I think the same thing with the authentication. It gets sent to one, a hub, and then they send it.
Yes, that's how it works. So I'm guessing they hold your money until that whole process is
I
over.
believe so. But he got his
Okay.
money. Of course, I think he was like, wait a minute. I think it surprised him how much eBay took. But at the same time, I said, well, they're in business just like we want to be. And they gave you the platform to sell that card. So
Yeah. So did he do anything special with that money?
he invested some of it, which I was
Good.
happy with. And he wanted to buy himself a set of golf clubs because he recently took up golf.
Okay.
So,
Good for him.
yes.
That is an amazing
But I
story.
believe he spent the rest of it. Probably more on more breaks. But I told him, I said, this is kind of like winning the lottery.
Hmm.
Chances of this happening again, probably slim to
Right.
none.
Right. Well, he got it the one time, so
Yes.
he's got that story to tell.
Yes. So
Okay. Now, when you go to estate sales, which is your favorite, do you look for specific things or are you open to anything?
I really gravitate towards things that are new in the package. I
Mm-hmm.
find that those sell. I really like these are not high dollar items, but I find that any type of unused like mop refill, or I bought Glade plugins in a discontinued scent, like anything
Mm-hmm.
like that, these little like bread and butter, I guess you call them, type items,
Mm-hmm.
they really always sell. And I
Mm-hmm.
always make a decent profit given how much, I bought the Glade plugins. He sold me a 12 pack for $12, and I've sold two so far for $12 each. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, and anything that's fragrance like that runs the risk of the fragrance being discontinued because
Yes.
as you know in merchandising, the
Yes.
manufacturers are always they only have so much shelf space and they're
Correct.
always trying new things to see if that's going to be more profitable than an existing one. And they also know the ones that they better not discontinue because that's their best sellers. You're kind of in that world already of the merchandising thing and knowing how that system works.
Yes. Yes. I do see a lot of, I do walk over to the Walmart clearance when I'm at Walmart for work.
I was going to ask you that.
I do, but there is part of me sometimes that thinks, well, if Walmart's not selling it, am I going to be able to sell it?
Well, but here's the thing, it could just be not moving in that store.
Correct.
When I was in the grocery business, I learned that discontinued does not mean discontinued everywhere.
Okay.
It could just be in that particular store, that zip code, whatever, that neighborhood. Okay, for example, I lived in an apartment complex that was right next to a retirement community. That was from like 20 to 22. And the grocery store right there at the entrance where you could literally walk to it, it was heavy on wine and party food and all of that, but hardly any baby items because I would look for things that were clearanced and I could see the difference because, okay, yeah, maybe these retired people had grandkids coming, but they're the heavy buyers of the wine and the entertaining stuff. So I would see more discontinued baby items there because they don't move in that store. But 20 miles away in a different area where it's young families in the neighborhoods might not be the case. And so that's where we become redistribution specialists and figure that out. Sometimes the manufacturing plant would close or move or something, and they weren't making it for a short period of time. But the general public didn't know that. They would think, oh my gosh, example was the Nizoral shampoo. It's like a dandruff shampoo. It's medicated.
Oh, I know what you're
Um,
talking about. Yeah.
they closed the plant. They were moving it, and so that was not available for several months. And people thought it was discontinued. But I actually called the manufacturer and I'm like, "What's going on with this? Is this coming back?" And they explained it, and I sold that stuff. I think it was about $10 a bottle for $40 a bottle. I went everywhere to find it.
Yeah.
But I knew that window was closing because it was coming back. So it wasn't going to
Okay.
be like that forever.
Right.
So that was way too much information, probably. But yeah,
Oh,
since you're in those stores already, why not check the clearance and see what you can
I
flip?
do. I also, I depends on the day because my schedule, changes. But depending on the day that I get to Walmart, I oftentimes walk in and see a line of people waiting for the Pokemon cards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gotten so bad that they have to put up like caution tape for the poor merchandiser that's just trying to do her job and get out of there because people just want to grab them and get them all and they're gone within the 5 minutes of her putting them up. So they make everybody wait in line until she's done.
Mm-hmm.
And I always, think to myself, maybe I should get in that line because they do seem to be pretty profitable. So last week, I don't really have time on the job to wait in that line. But last week I was there and I noticed the line. And what happens is she goes and does the front, and then there's a back section by the toys where there's also a few stands of Pokemon cards. So I'm doing my job and I kind of peer over and see that everybody's still in line. And then all of a sudden I see someone walk past me with the cards in their hand. So I ran up there and I got the last 3 packs that she had just put up. And
Oh,
I'm like, well, we'll see what I can do with these. So I do have
okay.
them up and I do have some watchers, but I feel like I'm just going to sit on them and see if I can sell them. But I'm not going to do it every week. But I felt like, maybe I needed a couple more things to add to my store.
Yeah, sure. And how
If
many
I'm there at the
items?
right time, why not? That's what they're all doing. That's what all the people in line are doing.
Yeah. How many
So
items do you have in your store?
I have about 1,100.
Oh,
I know. I don't really know. A lot of it's baseball cards though. So it's like
okay.
so easy to list a baseball card and they add up so quickly as far as how many I have. So I want to say at least probably 400 is baseball cards or
So
football.
what is your trying to get price on those? And are
It's
you selling
so
them
different.
individually?
They're
Okay.
all so different. I mean, most of them are under $2, but at the same time, I feel like it feeds my algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
And I have people who buy 12, 13 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it adds up. And honestly, I just want them out of my house.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
Yeah.
else's problem.
Yeah, that's very true about items that you have multiples of,
Yeah.
is people wanting to buy multiples. And
Yes.
those sales are great.
Yeah, it's great. I just feel like, I mean, they were in shoe boxes under my kids' beds.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. And I finally convinced my husband to start going through all of his. And he's got some good ones.
Uh-huh.
Oh, those are profitable.
So you mentioned shipping internationally. Do you send many of those international
Not the baseball
baseball?
cards.
Hmm.
No, no.
Okay.
The Weber grill doors from my grill, those went to
Uh-huh.
Canada.
Okay.
And then I had a pair of, my son played college baseball and my older son, and he had a pair of like team issued pants for baseball that were like gray with black stripes. And I really didn't think anyone would ever buy them, but they were
Mhm.
Nike. And those went to Puerto Rico.
Oh.
And I want to say I sold something to Germany as well.
Mm-hmm.
I also sold a really nice golf jacket to a guy in London. And he really was like hesitant with the shipping, but we
Mm-hmm.
were able to, and that was difficult. So I was trying to change the price for him to match a better shipping rate, kind of balance
Mm-hmm.
it out. And we struggled a lot trying to convert that, but we got it done and he got it and he was happy. So
Okay.
yeah.
Good.
So
And just for the listeners, and maybe you don't know this, the eBay international shipping, you can't combine orders.
okay.
So, like, if somebody did want to buy 5 baseball cards,
Uh-huh.
they would be charged. That would be individual transactions and they can't
Oh,
be combined. So, whenever you have a buyer who is international and wants more than one thing, it's best to create a special listing so that there's all their items together and one shipping fee for everything.
okay.
And if you want to discount the shipping at that point even more, you can, refund them back a little money. But I had somebody in United Kingdom, they wanted 5 lots of the horse ribbons I sell. And I said, okay, well, tell me which ones and I'll make a special listing, because the checkout will not let you combine separate transactions like that. So that's just a feature of the international shipping. So you make one product and one tracking number and all that stuff.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
something for the future, maybe. Maybe after this call, that will be some eBay voodoo that will happen to you.
Oh, that would be nice.
Okay, so we went kind of glazed over the what do you buy at estate sales question.
Oh yeah. So again, I look for new and packaged things. I'd say this would probably also be like my tip for anyone starting on eBay. I like to look for things that like maybe I would go to eBay for.
Mm-hmm.
Like unique, no longer made, one of a kind type items. I found like one of those 5-star trapper keepers from back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And it looked practically brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you're not going to find that on the shelf at Walmart right now.
No.
So that to me stood out. And I actually bought some Legos yesterday, and I bargained with I know, again, I like to go on Sunday, which is bargain day. And when I brought the container up, I just sort of showed, and there was no price. And I said, what do you think? And I saw inside that there were a lot of people, the Lego people inside, but I don't think the estate sale person really was paying that close attention. And I got them for pretty cheap. And I came home and I parted out all the people and made one lot. And then I put the rest of the basic Legos, and I've got a lot of looks on those already. I just like to, I'd say also when you're first starting out, go into eBay and just pick a category and look at the completed sold items and see what's selling. And that's kind of what I do often. And even for the baseball cards, like I look up and see like who's selling, like what cards are hot right now. Like, do I have any of those in my house? And I oftentimes run downstairs and say to my husband, do we have this? Because it's going for a lot of money. So I also picked up at an estate sale a sheet of and I'm mad at myself about this because they had these sheets of uncut baseball cards. And I didn't really know that much about those, but they wanted like $3 a sheet. And I wasn't having, sometimes when you're in these places, you can't get reception, and it's hard to like, and you're like, I don't have much time to like stand there and Google image everything. So I just bought like 2 of the sheets. I figured my husband will think they're cool, whether I sell them or not. And I brought them home and I sold them for really good money instantly. And I was kicking myself that I did not just buy them all.
Right. Oh yeah, we've all been in those situations. Like, I'm going to try this out and see how it works. I don't know if I want to commit to that many.
Yeah.
And then it's a great seller and you're like, shoot.
Exactly.
I should have committed to that
really.
many.
I was like, oh, what did they do with those? Can I call them and get them tomorrow?
Yeah, right.
That's the problem with going on the last day. I don't know if I went to an estate sale and I found old school incandescent light bulbs.
Okay.
And this is going to be a lesson for all the listeners.
Okay.
So I paid maybe $1 for packs of light bulbs, and I brought them home, and I had 4 packs, and I listed them, and one of them sold instantly for like $39. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. My husband's calling me the light bulb lady. This is my new niche. I'm going to sell light bulbs. I sell another pack again for like $30. So I've got 2 left. I'd say a week later, I wake up to a message from eBay saying that I am violating their policy. Apparently, you are not allowed to sell the old school incandescent light bulbs because now everything's LED. So just like Home Depot got rid of all of them, they don't want them on eBay either.
I wonder why.
I don't know. And at first I was like, what did I do? And I they didn't really explain. It just said you have a policy violation. These listings have been taken down. So I Googled it, and it said that on eBay you're not allowed to sell. I think that's why the stores got rid of them. You're just, other than like specialty bulbs, which would be like for your refrigerator or like a small something, you're not allowed to sell anything that isn't LED. So,
And you did not find any government policy or anything about that? I mean,
it
there
just
are
said
some
that
things.
eBay won't let you.
Okay, so I mean, there are some things you're just not allowed to sell.
Yes. So I learned real
Firearms
quick
and
that I am no longer the
stuff
light bulb
from
lady.
endangered animals and things like that you're just not allowed.
Yes.
But maybe that's the issue for the end of this podcast. I can do a research about why.
I definitely read some paragraph because I Googled it about.
Okay.
But I thought I was going to be in the best business.
Well, some people still want them.
Totally. So
I
then,
mean,
but here's another crazy part. So right after I took the listing down, someone messaged me and said, I really wanted those incandescent light bulbs, but they're no longer in your store. But I started thinking, is this eBay trying to see if I'm going to sell them to this guy? So I just said, I'm sorry, they're no longer for sale. And I just deleted his message because I just didn't, I mean, they could have quality control people out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I was just too nervous that it was too coincidental that he sent it to me like the day after they got taken down. And I just,
like they were testing you to see.
Yes, like to see if I was gonna like be like, I don't know. It made me too nervous. It is, the few dollars is not worth it to me to get in trouble.
No.
I did list them on Facebook Marketplace.
I was going to ask that next.
But they haven't sold.
Well, that is an interesting tip because I have heard of people that want them.
Yes.
And
one of them went somewhere in Chicago.
Unless there's like a fire hazard, or maybe some of them have some kind of safety
They were like
problem.
Sylvania. I don't know. I still have them in my basement.
So maybe if some of them have a safety issue, then eBay just says, no, we're not doing this at all. I'm going to crack that code and find out. Because now I'm curious, because I
bet you there's still some listings up.
I still see them in thrift stores. Maybe.
Oh yeah, I see them in estate sales. It's really hard to pass them up.
Yeah, moving clean out, estate clean out, where people don't know what to do with them and they don't want to just throw it away.
No, and I could use them in my house if I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I really wanted to use them to make good money.
Well, yeah, I'm a soft lighting person. I don't like overhead fluorescent lights. I like lamps with 40 to 60 watt bulbs.
Yeah.
And some of those LEDs they're just too bright.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe that's why people want them. But
yeah, they want the softer light.
I did read somewhere that you could sell the 3-way, and I did have some of those, but they took them down, and I just don't feel like messing with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've had things taken down because I didn't know. And there were other listings active. So.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Yeah. Sometimes you just.
I didn't know about the half-used perfume, and I sold a few of those before I knew.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that was perfectly fine until a few years ago.
Yeah.
We sold them all the time. And that was a huge hit to people that made good money on partially used perfumes, especially the spray bottles. Like, how can that be contaminated if it's a spray bottle?
How can you get in there?
Yeah, exactly.
But I have I'd say maybe 30% used bottle of Taylor Swift's perfume from way back in the day with the charms on the top.
And
I could get some great money for it, but I also kind of want to keep it for myself. And I also know that I'm not supposed to sell it. So
right. But I often wonder on some of these partially used ones, if you can just get the perfume out and then just sell the bottle.
Right.
Because there's plenty of desire for the bottles, even if it's not super old and vintage, it's just what people collect.
That's true.
I had one like that, but I couldn't get the darn top off. It was a spray.
I was going to say, I think about the Taylor Swift one. I don't even know.
It was a spray thing, and I would just have had to have used it up with the
Right.
spray because
That's
I
a good
couldn't
idea. I guess when I
out
use
how
when
to.
it's all
I
done.
used tried every tool and asked people, and they're like, "We can't get this off without breaking it." So
Yeah.
I'm always looking for that. Okay, well, what is legal? What can I do with this?
Right. Right.
So, hey, you work part time. How many hours a week is that?
It could be anywhere, I'd say like in a non-holiday season, probably 15 hours. And
Mm-hmm.
during the holidays, 25.
Mm-hmm.
So very part-time, but
Okay.
yeah.
And so is that flex hours or do they tell you when you have to be there?
For the most part, it's flexible. One of my stores requires you to be there the Monday after a Hallmark holiday type thing to
Okay.
take because they want Christmas down. They want Valentine's down
Oh
immediately.
yeah, they do. They want Valentine's down so they can put up Halloween. What are you talking about?
Exactly. There's nothing like when I'm in the back and I'm still in the midst of Valentine's Day and I start seeing all my Easter deliveries.
Oh, right, exactly. Oh yeah, I forgot about Easter.
But it's funny because now that I work in that environment, people always say, like, oh my God, I can't believe they're already at Halloween or whatever. It's the middle of the summer. But I've now realized and explained to people who say that the stores have dedicated space for seasonal items.
Hmm.
So if you take down one holiday, you have to go to the next because what else are
Right.
you going to put there?
You can't just leave it empty.
Exactly.
That's not going to be good for anybody.
No. And they do not like when you leave it empty.
So
So
I was asking that because you work in your estate sales around
I
your other
usually do
job.
the estate sales on the weekends.
Hmm.
I try to take Mondays and Fridays off of my real job.
Hmm.
So occasionally I'll go to an estate sale on a Friday, but again, I really like to hit it on Sunday when it's discount day.
Yeah.
Because
Last day. So
I'm
it's
not
the,
looking for anything specific. I feel like the people on Fridays, they see the pictures and they have a niche maybe of what they like and they just want to get in there and get it. I think when I
Mhm.
get a little bit more experience, be able to do that. Or if it's by my house, I could go back more than
Mhm.
once, which I've done before.
Well, I like the challenge of the leftovers too,
Yes.
because there's usually stuff there you can
Right.
flip.
There's always, I feel like there's always going to be something for the most part.
Mhm.
I like to go to the ones that are like the packed, almost hoarder-ish houses.
Uh, Yeah.
Part of the
Yeah.
fun is just going through some of these houses.
And if you can look at the pictures before you go and kind of get an idea,
Yes.
like the junkier the better, just
Yeah.
boxes of things, like you don't even see what's in
Right.
there.
Like I don't want to go to the clean, pristine ones that have all the only high-end items.
I don't know what they're thinking.
No. Or
I
they
don't
don't
know
let you go upstairs
if
or
you heard when I worked for an estate sale company, I think it was back in 2023. And I was kind of looking for something part-time to do. And I went to this estate sale and talked to the guy running it. And they're like, yeah, we're always looking for people. And so, yeah, I worked for them for a couple of weeks and I was horrified at the waste because they threw away these quilts. There was maybe six of them, handmade now. You can tell when they're handmade. And I'm like, wait, why is this in the garbage pile? And they're like, well, it has a little stain on it. And this, each had a little imperfection. And I'm like, well, people will still buy them. I would buy them.
yeah.
And they're like, well, we only put out the best quality, no defects on anything. And, they wanted their estate sale to look like a boutique. And I said, okay, well, I get that is the company's business model. This was a franchise. They're all over the United States.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is the company's business model. So we have to do it this way. And I'm like, well, if you're just throwing those away, can I have them? And they're like, no, no employees are ever allowed to take anything. I couldn't even buy things at
Oh,
the end
really?
that were
I would think
left.
they'd let you buy them.
It would have to be at the very end when it was shut down, and maybe they would discuss that. But just it broke my heart. I couldn't do it. I quit
Yeah.
because it was a lot of sorting through. I thought they were going to let me price things, and their pricing strategy was ridiculous. These prices are too high. And I guess their focus was people who wanted to buy things for themselves. It wasn't for resellers or just getting rid of stuff. They just wanted to set up a pretty store for 3 days to have people come through. And so I don't even shop those estate sales anymore. When I
No.
find out the companies like that, because they don't negotiate, they didn't negotiate even on the last day.
What are they going to do with it?
I don't know what they're thinking. I'm like, I don't understand your business model because
Some money is better than throwing it in the
I
garbage.
know I'm a save it from the landfill kind of person. I'm a somebody's going to want this kind of person. I'm not a it's not perfect. We're going to throw it in the trash person.
Right.
I'm not that at all.
I
So
know. I can tell you
anyway, yeah, you have to get to know the companies and how they run the sales. And even better are the ones that are run by the family and they just want to get rid of stuff.
yeah, I actually had a good sale from a garage sale over the summer. It was like a flatware set and it was brand new with the box and everything. And I just knew from listening that, especially coming up on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I said, "How much do you want?" And she said 20. And I took it because I had Google image knowing it was probably close to $100.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, I want to say of course, because like you're getting ready for your vacation and you're starting to put your store on time away. And I get upstairs to go to bed and I see the alert that I just sold the heaviest thing of mine, which was the silverware. And I sold
Mm-hmm.
it and I just felt like I got to get this out before I leave and sure enough I sent it out the next morning before we went out of town and she gave me great feedback about how she made a nighttime purchase and she still got it in time for Christmas and
Mm-hmm.
I mean I made real good money off of it and she was happy, so that's the end of the story.
Very good. Okay, well, what kind of plans do you have for your business going forward, or is it just status quo and make as much money as you can?
Yeah, I mean, I really ultimately would like to try to double my sales from last year just because I feel like I just started getting into it last year and I did pretty well. I need to get a little bit more organized. My inventory, thankfully, I have a large basement with two storage rooms. So one storage room is completely all eBay. And that room is everything that has been already listed. And I have it divided by category and then by person. Like I sell a lot of stuff for my mom and my sister and
Mm-hmm.
some friends and they have their own little spots, but I don't want to really call it my death pile because that would be like the whole other room. but, but that room needs to be more organized. I
Well, you can
did,
just call it your backlog,
yes, it is, it's
your
like,
back stock. Yeah.
so that needs to be, and my boxes, I bring a lot of boxes home from work, which is fantastic
Oh, I
because
bet you do. Yeah.
I've never paid for a box between
Uh-huh.
Walgreens, what they throw away. Every time I leave a store, they're like, "Oh, we can take your garbage." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. This is going home with me."
That is a wonderful recycling tip.
It
And I do
is.
see questions on the group all the time, like, where can I get boxes? And
If you
really,
ever see
nobody
your Hallmark
ever,
merchandiser working in a store, they are happy to give you the boxes because otherwise we have to break it down and take it in the back.
okay.
And it's much easier just to hand it to you.
Well, I have asked different vendors in the stores. Frito-Lay does not want to give you
Oh,
boxes
they
because
don't?
they reuse them because they're just potato chips. They don't get beat up
Okay.
like a box of something heavy would.
Yeah.
So
Try like Nabisco. I did a lot of Oreo ones, lots of them.
the Frito-Lay guy actually said, no, I can't give these to you. That was back when I was moving and I just needed boxes for like linens and pillows and stuff that wasn't.
Yeah.
And he says, I'll go ahead and give you two this time, but we can't do that anymore. And I'm like, who knew cardboard was at a premium? I didn't. But
Right.
for the listeners, if you are new to this and you're concerned about any kind of packing materials, ask your neighbors, can I have your Amazon boxes? Do you reuse them? And, drive around the neighborhood and look at the ones that have the most deliveries on their porch because they're going to have a bunch of boxes. And most
Uh-huh.
people don't use them for anything. But you can also get the Amazon padded mailers and now those brown, it's like a paper bag, but
Yeah.
they put
Yeah.
lightweight things in it. You can crush that up and use that as filler.
Yeah.
I haven't had to buy a box. I don't even know when the last time was.
No, nobody should. If you
If you
go
can
to,
just leverage asking people, whether it's at your
Right.
work or if you know somebody that has a job like you. That who was it
Yeah.
telling me their somebody on the podcast, their husband worked in a mechanic shop or something and had all kinds of boxes with parts, and they were good, sturdy, smallish boxes. So you just have to think about it and you can figure it out. But really, you're right. You don't ever have to buy a box.
No. And I was selling some golf clubs and I just went into our local golf store and asked them. I said, "Do you have any brown boxes to ship a single golf club in?" And they gave them to me.
Yeah.
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 Never hurts to ask.
No, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yes.
Okay, well, our time is just about up here. What is on your agenda this afternoon?
I am off of work today, so I'm probably gonna list a few things on eBay, maybe clean up some of the mess. I have an old PlayStation system sitting here from my kids, and I've been charging the controller to try and see if I can clear out the data and list that because I know that'll be a good
So it
seller.
sounds like you're having a later day, which is what I'm having. It's all the stuff you put in a pile to fool with later.
Exactly.
Something that has a stain on it, or this needs a button sewn on, or I got
Exactly.
to clean this, or I don't even know what this thing is. I
Yes.
got to ask some people, what is this? That
I
just
know.
happened over the weekend.
I know. I don't know what we
So
did without Google Image. That's
even that, this was it's called a horse head stall. It goes over their ear
oh
to
wow.
hook into the bridle and the reins and all. I don't even know. And
Yeah.
I asked Marlene, the horse lady, I sent her a picture. I'm like, what is this thing? It has this weird hole in it. I thought it had something to do with the saddle, like you put something through it, but it goes on the horse's head. And
Yeah.
I never would have figured that out. It's great to have people that are specialists in certain categories. You can just shoot them an email and say, hey, what is this?
Yeah.
Or even just put a picture on the group. Does anybody know
Yeah,
what this
I've done that
is?
before. Like I have a
Um,
silverware, I have some silverware flatware downstairs, and I cannot find comps on it or the name. Like it's Towel, the brand, but I
uh-huh.
cannot find what pattern it is anywhere. You might see
Yeah,
me
and like you
posting it
said,
later in your
Google
group.
Images is not always correct.
No, it's giving me so
It's
many
pretty
other
close. I mean, it can only
brands.
do what it can do. That
I might
group.
post it in your group today because
Well,
I'm
also, do you know about the group called Antique and Unusual Item Identification?
no. Is
I
that a
will send
Facebook
you a
group?
link to that. There
Okay.
are over 200,000 members, and these
Okay, good.
people,
Because I
they
really
answer
want to get this listed and I don't know what it is.
they answer quickly, and many of them have expertise in antiques. Like they had an antique store for 30 years, or they were a buyer for Macy's and they know all about handbags or
Yeah.
whatever it is. They're experts in what they do. And some people just do it for fun, just to be like, keep their mind sharp, like what is
Right.
this? But yeah, I'll send you the link to that, because it if you can't get an answer in our group or Google Images,
Okay.
or try all of them, who cares, right?
Yeah. I really just want to
Um,
get this off my table downstairs.
yeah, and they love to help and answer questions. That's people in general. They just love to be like, oh, that's a blah blah blah. I know exactly what that is. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, you just saved me an hour.
Yeah. I've tried to Google image it and put towel at the top, and I've tried, and it comes back so many different things. That's not it.
So anyway, that's the thought for the day. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks again for coming on. And it sounds like you were off to a great start with your track record on eBay. And we will look for more of your posts in the group.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, the issue with incandescent light bulbs. And thank you, Gemini, for this information. As of August 1st, 2023, the U.S. Department of Energy has effectively banned the manufacture and sale of most common incandescent light bulbs by requiring bulbs to produce at least 45 lumens per watt. This rule favors energy efficient LEDs, as traditional bulbs only produce about 15 lumens per watt. Key aspects of the incandescent bulb ban. What is banned? The regulations prohibit the sale and manufacture of traditional incandescent bulbs for general service lighting. Effective date, August 1st, 2023. Exceptions. Certain specialty bulbs, such as appliance lights, black lights, and bug lights, are exempt. Usage. You are not required to remove or replace existing incandescent bulbs you already own. Reasoning. The ban, initiated by the Department of Energy, aims to reduce energy consumption, lower electricity bills for consumers, and decrease greenhouse gas emissions. Future trends. While some political efforts to repeal the ban have emerged, manufacturers have largely shifted away from producing these older technologies, making the transition to LED nearly universal. The shift is designed to encourage the use of LED bulbs, which can be 75% more efficient and last longer than traditional incandescents. So there you have the reason for this. Personally, I would not mess around with this. I would not list any incandescent bulb, even if it's listed as an exception to the rule, because you just never know when eBay is going to do a widespread removal of listings with incandescent in the title. So yours could be caught up in that. Perfect example, during COVID, I had several 2-ply cashmere sweaters. They were removed because of the price gouging of toilet paper that was 2-ply, and so they just took everything down that had the keyword 2-ply in it. So I don't even use that now. I just show a picture of the tag that shows that it's 2-ply cashmere. So things can happen. Now you know. Next week, my guest is Marissa, who is a vintage enthusiast, and her credo is, everything in my house is secondhand. And I love that for the recycling aspect, as well as the reselling part. Thank you all so much for listening and supporting this podcast by coming back every week. And as the late, great Casey Kasem used to say, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Bye, everybody.